So, welcome, Dennis.
Hello, thanks.
Thank you for being here in this podcast. This is the second episode of the podcast called Futurejazz.
Right.
And first, how we got to know each other. I met you in this bar called Bariton. It's in Zurich. Mm-hmm. And you played there with your friend.
Right.
He played, I think it was on the guitar, or piano.
Guitar, yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked it, and then I asked you to maybe play for me.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
right.
this was like almost 2 years ago.
Right.
We played a concert.
Yeah, that's right.
For me and my friends.
Right.
And and then this whole special time we are in happened, and just recently we were still in contact from time to time. You wrote me some message back and forth.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you watched one of my videos about the gods.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that we are all gods, because I started to
That's
make
right,
myself.
that's right. And that really got to me. Yeah. That really, the truth was ringing in that video. Yeah.
So you did send me some links of interviews you recently did.
That's correct.
And I was really fascinated by your story.
Okay.
And in this podcast we will talk about this, your near-death experiences,
sure.
The downloads or realizations you had out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And probably much more.
Oh yes, with pleasure. And thank you for having me on Futurejazz, your new show. And it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.
Cool. Let's start. So you're a born musician.
Yeah.
How many years do you play music?
Oh,
now?
Many years.
When did you start?
I started music when I was. Well, actually, I started as a kid singing in church, and then I was playing instruments by 7 years old, and then I went on to play saxophone around 15, something like that, 15 years old. My mother wanted me to... I was playing guitar at first. My mother didn't want me to play guitar because of Hendrix. So she bought me a guitar, but then she didn't expect that I was going to learn to play it, and I actually learned to play it quite well. And then she broke it because she was scared. And so I got mad, and I got a saxophone, which was metal, so she couldn't break it. And but I ended up liking saxophone. I didn't expect. I was just playing. At first, I started saxophone just to get back at my mother. But then I ended up that I liked it so much, so I continued to play it. And I was lucky because in America you can have teachers that are very famous. I was trained by Grover Washington. And that was really a gift that any musician any saxophone player would say, "Oh wow, your teacher's Grover Washington. Oh my God!" So I was lucky to have that, and music has been my life. I mean, in America, we have these poor neighborhoods. Some people might call it ghetto or whatever. But music kept me from being in trouble, and it kept me really happy. It was like my best friend that I didn't have, and music's been my life. Yeah.
And now, when you say that, I remember there was actually a situation before the Bariton experience that I met you. You know where?
Where is that?
I was walking with a friend at the Limmat.
Ah, yeah, right.
And I was just there, and I heard someone playing saxophone in nature at the river.
Right.
And it was actually you. And that was the first, the first moment we met each other.
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated. It was like I never ever expected like a musician playing in nature, and you were just like practicing for a concert.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was so nice. And also later, at least 2 times I saw you at the Limit. Just
that's right.
Accidentally.
Yeah. Because playing in the nature is like a spiritual feeling. It's so great to play in the nature. You're in harmony with the animals and the nature and the trees and the wind, and and also believe it or not, I got some of my biggest jobs from doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up, because I played in the nature, somebody from a cruise ship, the Gourmet Festival in Switzerland, cruise ship company hired me to sing and perform on their ship for the last 3-4 years.
Wow.
So that's why I say you never know who's listening. So that's just something that I do sometimes before I do a major show, or just sometimes for pleasure, just to give. I'm a believer in to send out love and positive energy to the people, and I was doing that even before this crisis that's supposedly happening right now. I was doing that, because for me, I mean, playing in nature, it's a freedom, it's a love, it's a joy of being alive. And if you have music or artwork or whatever you can present, good conversation, whatever you can present to the people, it's always nice to do it in nature.
I can see it also like more and more, like there are more concerts now in nature. Just recently I was on a concert in Basel, done it, like some spiritual music, and it was so beautiful. They planned to have it in the Volkshaus inside, and with the situation they decided they want to welcome everyone, so they did it outside with like some fires and like a rooftop and carpet. And when I was there, I said to my friend, it's a bit cold, but I can feel this is kind of a pre-launch phase for more concerts in nature. And it's so beautiful, like it's so different. You're in nature, you have these people, and it's like you get dirty maybe sometimes. But you smell so many things, you feel the fresh air, everything.
It's definitely a higher experience than just sitting in a club listening. You're more in nature, you're more natural. I did so many, I got played for weddings outside in the nature. I was hired for birthday parties, and they wanted me to play in the nature, and they had the party in the nature. So it definitely is a plus if you can have music or any kind of show in the nature, plus.
Nice. So, but you play now since a long time. So, can you tell me some special places or situations you had as a musician?
Oh wow, a lot of places. Montreal Jazz Festival for 7 years. A lot of. I was also on major cruise ships. I mean, the Gourmet Festival is a small cruise, and a small boat maybe hold maybe 400 to 700 people. But before that, I was doing a small club in Switzerland, and a guy came up to me, and he said, "Yeah, you're good." And I said, "Oh, thanks." And he said, "Well, you could make a lot more money than what you're making." And I said, "Yeah, okay." And he says, "Well, I'm going to show you how." And he gave me his card, and he says, "You're going to need an accountant once you take this job." And I said, "Okay." I didn't really believe him at first, so he gave me his card, and he told me to put together a show for 1 hour, just 1 hour. And I said, "Okay." And I put together this show, and I put it on video, and next thing I know, I was doing a cruise ship for 5,000 people.
Wow.
And I was traveling everywhere, from Egypt to the islands, to the Caribbean, to everywhere. And he was right, I needed an accountant. It was a lot of money. And this guy was like the guy who hires people for major cruise companies. And he just happened to be in Switzerland at the time that I was performing at this small club. You have a beer and you... And I was doing some R&B, soul singing and performing the saxophone. And I didn't expect nobody. It was a dive in the wall. I was just making a quick dollar here, pay the phone bill or whatever. And yeah, and that ended up being a job I took for about a good 5 years.
Wow.
And that was really changed everything, my whole thing. And I have that video, of that job on YouTube. Actually, you can see that. It's called Saxy. That was my name, my stage name, Saxy. It's Saxy Part 1, Part 2. Saxy. Saxy Bullock, actually. Bullock. Saxy. And Part 1, Part 2, you can see me. My audience was like 700 people at a time, and it was really fun. And it was on a ship full of 5,000 people, and it was really, really amazing experience. Yeah, so I mean that was really great. I mean, but there was some things that happened on there that's why I left it, because they were just partying too much, and the I don't want to say the names, but I just say this company crashed the ship, and luckily I wasn't on that ship at that time, because I had this feeling that I shouldn't go on this particular trip, and there was a strong feeling, so I didn't go, and that ship sank. And normally I would be on that ship. I was on that ship every year before that. And this time I said, no, don't go. There's something wrong. Something's going to go wrong. Something's wrong. And I didn't go, and that ship sank. It was in the news, and it was.
I know. I don't say the name too,
yes,
but I
exactly.
think I know which one.
Yes. It wasn't that far from the shore of Italy. But anyway.
Yeah.
And that's when I stopped to work with that particular company, and I stopped the big cruise stuff, because I'd been traveling all the time for 5 years, and I was kind of burnt out, and I needed to stay in one place.
Yeah.
And so that's basically some of the places I've done. I mean, I was on my first world tour at 19 years old with the Stylistics. That was I had never traveled before, and then all of a sudden I was, for a whole year and a half, taking a plane every 2 weeks everywhere.
Wow.
Saudi Arabia, Australia, England, you name it, Indonesia, Malaysia, all this. We did a world tour, and so by the time I came back, I felt like I was Moses, I've been to the Red Sea, and which I actually literally did, and so my whole view on America had changed, and I was totally not going for what they were trying to say, because I had been there. I was in Beirut when they were at war, and it was not in Lebanon, and it was not what they were saying in the news, because I was there. And I told my mother at the time, it's not true what the news is saying. I'm here, Mom. There's no big wars and all that stuff. There's a little bit of a skirmish on the other side of town with American troops and Lebanese troops, but it's not the big war that they're promoting. So, because I was in the Sheraton Hilton at the time in Lebanon, and I had my best friend who was in the Marines in Beirut on the other side, supposedly going to fight, but they didn't fight. They got blown up in the barracks. Suicide bomber came and blew it up, and that was it. So it was not a big war, but in America they were promoting it. Big war, and the troops are there, and it was bullshit. And that was the first time I really started to question the news. That, are they really always telling the truth? Or is it biased prejudice or biased ways of presenting a story? Yeah.
So, but you were growing up in America, right?
Yes.
In which place?
New York and Philly, Philadelphia.
And when you were growing up, okay, you became a musician, but was it have you been questioning a lot of things that has been told to you when you were young, or did something happen like the Beirut situation or later that you
Well,
got
when
out
I
of
was
this?
16 years old, I was working at a restaurant and a place called Roy Rogers, where they serve chicken and roast beef sandwiches and stuff like that. I was the cook. And I was coming home late. I was 16 years old. And I was coming home late one night at 2 o'clock, something like that. The restaurant closes at 1 or something like that. And it takes me about an hour to walk home. And I was walking home and I had my uniform on, which was like orange and yellow. So you could see that I was working at some restaurant. And off-duty cop came. He had a off-duty car, so it was not a normal police car. It was like a normal car with 4 guys in it. So he said, "Halt, stay there." And I kept walking because I didn't know who they were. I said, in the States, you don't, at 2 o'clock in the morning with 4 guys, you don't stop if a car tells you to, hey, stop. So I kept walking, and then the car pulled onto the walkway into the pavement, and this guy got out and put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger back.
Wow.
And he said, "Spread him, you know what to do." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And spread him, and he kicked my leg open, and he pushed me against the wall. And then he put the gun to my head and he pulled the trigger back. And I thought at that moment, I'm going to be dead, because what had been happening that month, they were finding a lot of young black male kids shot. Wow. And they always had a gun. They always said, "Oh, he had a gun," and we didn't believe that all the time, that all the kids were carrying guns. And I thought that was going to happen to me. I thought they were going to shoot me and then plant a gun and say, "He pulled a gun on me, so I had to shoot him." So my life kind of flashed, and I was kind of a little bit mad at God, because I said, "Man, I just started. I'm only 16. Why am I going to die now?" And when that guy did that, it did something to me, and it just made me say, if I live through this, I'm out of America. I'm not coming back here. I said, I'm not going to be another number, and I was determined. I said, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm not going to be in this country. I said, I love my parents dearly, but I'm not going to live this kind of life where you can't even walk home from work without somebody putting a gun to your head. So, especially, it's supposed to be a authority of cops. And by the way, my father is a cop. Okay? And when I told my father, he said, "You're lucky," because he said, most likely that you probably ran into a racist cop, and he probably he didn't kill you because you didn't provoke in your conversation with him. But if you had, he would have shot you easy. And my father quit the police department after 2 years after that, because he didn't agree with what the politics were going on. It was like a gang. The cops were turned into a gang.
Yeah.
And they were doing whatever they wanted. They were breaking the law, and they were doing all kinds of stuff. So he quit because he knew that if he told on them, that it was like a gang, a little mafia, they would come and can get him for whatever reason. So he quit, and he became a prison guard, which was a whole different scene. But yeah, so anyway, make a long story short, so I was in high school, and then a friend of mine who's one of my best friends, actually he's the one that saved my life, actually, because I was going to go in the Marines with another best friend of mine, and we had planned to join together, because my father was also a Marine. Okay, and so I wanted to make my father proud, so I was going to join the Marines. And then I had this other best friend in high school that said, "Man, you're great. You should do the audition for the stylistics." I said, "No way, man." I said, I was against it, actually. I said, "No way, I'm not good enough. It's going to be like 100 people there for the audition." and they're going to be professionals. I mean, I'm a kid in high school. I said, man, you can do it. You can pass it, and you can just try. All right, just try. And thank God.
Did you play music or something else?
No, I play music.
Yeah,
music,
already there.
Yeah. And take your saxophone and go for the audition. So I went for the audition, and they said, we like you. You passed the audition. But he says, do you play flute? And I said, oh, yes. But I lied. And I had 3 days to learn flute. And I learned it.
Wow.
So I bought a flute and I learned in 3 days. I remember I was sleeping with my flute in my bed. And I'd wake up.
Was this one?
Yes. And when the time I went to sleep, I was sleeping like that with my flute. And then I was able to read the music. And I did my audition. And the next 2 weeks, I was on a world tour.
Wow.
I had to get a passport and all that stuff. And that changed my whole life. And we were in the Middle East, and my best friend had went and became a Marine. And he was on the other side of Beirut fighting. I was in the Sheraton Hotel in Beirut entertaining. He got blown up. And I just continued with my tour. And then when we had a small break, a pause in the tour, I went home and I found that he had been blown up in his sleep by a suicide bomber in Beirut. He was at the same time, and I would have been there if it hadn't have been for my best friend in high school who said, go do that audition.
Wow.
Because we were joining the Marines the same time. His name was Moses. We were joining the Marines the same time. And the only reason why I didn't go to sign up, because we had already went to the office, was because of the audition.
Wow.
And the audition, because I said, if I don't pass the audition, I'm going to be a Marine, which means I'm going to die.
Wow.
Because we would have been stationed, we joined at the same time, we'd have been stationed at the same time. He was young, I was young, same thing. And that blew my mind. Mm-hmm. That really, really dented me about destiny and about a lot of things. And my best friend is still my best friend to this day. He lives in Los Angeles now. He's another saxophone player. And I told him, I said, I owe you my life. and I said, if you need anything, man, you can always ask me. And I'm going to always say yes, because you saved my life. Because if it hadn't been for you pushing me all the time, I would have never did the audition, because I would have never believed that I could do it. Because I was like, oh, they're professionals, I'm not professional, and I never, how am I going to win against all these people? And he believed in me, and he said, you're great, man, you're better than those professionals, just do it, try it, do it. And he kept, every day, he kept almost like somebody bothering you, pestering you, but he was right. And then I ended up doing the world tour, and so I was like, and when I saw how everything happened, I said, oh my God, I would have been in the Marines dead. Because it didn't only kill one person, it killed the whole platoon while they were sleeping. Hundreds of men died.
Wow.
So
and this happened when you were about
19.
So 16, the situation with the police.
And then 3 years after that.
And then 3 years later, something in this direction?
Oh, well, well, a little bit more than 3 years, but it was more like 9 or something like that. 29. That's when my mother died. And that was devastating for me, because my mother, she was my world. Once she decided that I'm gonna do music, she saved her money and bought me my first saxophone.
Wow.
And she didn't have a job. So when she died, my world was crushed. I didn't want to live anymore, because she was the light of my life. Me and my father, we didn't get along so well, because my father was quite strict. about everything, and he was wasn't that he was a mean person. He took care of the bills, and he gave you a Christmas, but we kind of missed the connection together when I was younger. And my mother was the joy of my life. She was always smiling. She was always happy. She was always talking about the birds outside, and she gave me light in life. So when she died, it was over for me. I was mad at God because I said it shouldn't happen. I'm 29 years old. I'm too young to lose my mother. It's just too much. So I started to drink. After she died, I got sick and died. I started to drink. Every night I'd go to a bar and drink a little, and then come home. And I had an apartment in Canada. I was living in Canada. Because like I said, when I was 16, I was never going to live in America. After a certain point, once I did my tour, I saw that, we can live outside and people are cool and different races can live together and we can all get along together. It's not true what America was trying to promote. If you're this or that, or if you're this religion, or if you're that color, you can only be with that people. That was all bullshit. So I moved to Canada, and anyway, so she died, and I was doing my routine every day, to have my little drink at night, and then I would go cry myself to sleep on the side of my bed. Until one day, somewhere around almost 2 weeks after she had died, I was doing my routine, went to the bar, came back to my apartment, sitting on the side of my bed and I would turn off the light and then sit on the side of my bed, cry myself to sleep. And then this one night I came in, I turned out the light, sat on the side of my bed, and I went to untie my sneaker. And then I saw that there was still light on my sneaker. I was like, that's funny, that's crazy. I know I turned out the light. I know I did. And then when I looked up, this is the crazy part. This is the crazy part that blew my mind. The sun that you see in the sky was in my room. And the minute I looked up, it was like a wave of love that just washed over me. And it's hard for me to even describe that love. This love was like, just imagine a mother and a child, and you're holding the child in your arms. Imagine that love, that comfort, that security, but imagine it 1,000 times. That was the love and it washed over me like if you were in the ocean. It just was. When I looked up, and out of that sun that was in my room, 2 other lights came out of it, and they floated out. And as they floated out, I noticed one of the lights was my mother, because I could feel her personality coming from this light, and I knew it was her. And the first thing I said was, "Wow, Mom, it's like that over there?" That's the first thing I had to say, because I was already blown away with what was going on in my room.
So you didn't ask, she didn't say, by the way, this is Mom talking.
No,
so
she
you
didn't
just
need
felt
to
it
say
and
it.
you...
Yeah, she didn't need to
Wow.
say it. I knew it. I could feel her presence. I could feel her. I knew that was her. I could feel her. It's like, it's like if you have somebody in your kitchen and you don't know who it is, but if your mother was in your kitchen, you might could feel that that's your mother in the kitchen.
Yeah, I had this experience when my father, he died like some years ago, and my grandmother from the Hungarian side of me.
Yes.
And I was flying the first time by myself to Hungary. And when the airplane went up, I never had this before. I saw my mother, my grandmother, and my father in front of me and saying, "You're coming home now."
Yeah. See?
And also when I was in the birthplace of my father, first time after 25 years or more. And I was in this bed in the hotel room. And I felt so much energy. Like it's funny, like the name of the city is Papa.
Okay.
So my Papa is from Papa.
Okay.
So I was in this. I was visiting my grand auntie and all that. They were still there, and I was like alone in my hotel room, and I felt so much energy. And I felt, okay, this is something special. There is something like something from my father is here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I can relate to that.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So I knew it was her. That's why I said, "Wow, Mom, it's like that over there." And it was so much love. And then they floated out towards me, and she was like stars. I would describe it on a visual, like stars coming from the sun. The sun was in my room. It was bright, but it didn't burn my eyes for some odd reason. But they floated out, and when she came to me, she started to speak to me. But I mean, I could hear her voice like you're talking to me now. Yeah. But it was kind of a telepathy because I didn't see a mouth move. It was like, imagine a star talking to you. A star that you see in the sky. And it just starts talking to you. But you know it's your mother because you can feel her energy. You know how you know. Yeah. So she just started talking to me, and she says, I'm going to tell you. I mean, she got down to business right away. She said, I'm going to tell you a week in the future so you'll know that this is real and this is not a dream and this is not an illusion. She said, you're going to get a job next week. And she said, there's going to be a guy at this job, a bouncer or doorman, who is going to be a homosexual and he's going to be a psychopath. And she said, don't get into a fight with him because he's going to make a pass at you. Don't get into a fight with him, and don't get into an argument with him because he's a psychopath. And she said, because if you do, there's going to be 2 timelines that could happen. He said, either he's going to kill you in the fight, or you're going to kill him, but you go to jail for the rest of your life. She says, these are the 2 timelines that could happen if you get into a fight with him. So whatever you do, don't get into a fight with him. And she said also, the girlfriend that you have now, you've been seeing her for 2 years, and she has 3 kids that you don't know about. Wow. And she wants to have a 4th kid with you, but against your will. She's going to lie. She's not going to tell you the truth about the birth control or whatever, but she's going to try to trap you like that. And she told me, I tell you these things so you know that this is real. And she said, yeah, I'm only allowed to tell you a week in the future. Wow. And then she told me, and then I asked her, I said, but Mom, because I was talking to her just like I always do. Yeah. I said, but Mom, who's this other light? Because I wanted to also ask. Yeah, and when I asked her about who's the other light, the other light spoke to me, and it said, I'm an escort. And what I got was it escorted my mother from the other world to this world. Wow. Because I got from her that she was still adjusting. Because some souls, not all souls adjust right away. It takes sometimes adjustment time periods for different souls. So it had been maybe 2 weeks since my mother's been dead, but she has not totally yet adjusted. So she needed an escort to show her how to, because they have to lower their vibration to come into this realm. And the reason why she was able to do that, to break into my world, was because of love. Love has no boundaries. It has nothing can stop love, not even death. So that was the reason. And so, but I sensed the relationship the angel had with my mother. And it was kind of like, you got to get me over there. You got to get me over there. I got to go back. I got to get back to my son. He's on a bad path. You got to get me over there. And the angel said, it's okay. It's for love. I'll get you there. And that was the relationship between them two. See, once they came to me, it's like their gifts were kind of rubbing off on me or something. I could sense, we all had telepathy, and I could sense what they also what their relationship was. not only I could sense what she was thinking or saying to me, and she knew everything was in my mind, but I also could sense them also. It was like a trade-off, you know. So yeah, so that angel. So I said to myself, once the angel said, "I'm an escort, and I escorted your mother here," then I said, "Well, I got some questions because hey, I got God in my room." I said, I got questions for you, God. I want to know who's my wife, you know, how many kids I'm going to have. I want to know why am I here, and blah blah blah. And I was putting those questions to the angel, and the angel calmly said, easily said, "I'm going to answer all those questions, but you won't be allowed to remember." And it did. It told me the answers, but I couldn't remember. I only was allowed to remember what my mother told me for the week. And my mother told me she loved me, and she told me that I won't be aware of her as I am this night when she visits me later on in the future. I won't be as much aware of her that she's around, but she'll be around. And then they floated out back into that sun that was in my room, and then it was like they melted. It was like somebody turning down the heat or ice cube in a glass, just melted away. And when they finally got out of my sight, tears burst out my eyes because I said, "My God, nobody's ever going to believe this happened. Nobody's going to believe this happened." But I have the proof because everything my mother told me happened. The next day, I got a phone call from my band. We hadn't worked in about 2-3 weeks in Montreal, Canada, and they said, "We have a job, and it's a new club." And I didn't say nothing to my band members because I knew that if I told them this story, they're gonna say, "You know, he's a great singer, great saxophone, but since his mom died, he kind of lost it, man. He lost it, you know." So I didn't say nothing. Yeah. I said, "Oh, okay, we got a new job." I said, "Okay, I'll be there." Yeah, because I was thinking right away, man, this thing is starting. My mother's starting. This is, you know, because for me, I didn't, you know, and just what she said. I'm showing you these things so you know it's not an illusion or a dream. Because I was kind of doubting, like, you know, maybe I was like hallucinating, or, and then it started, and so I said, okay. So we went and did our sound check. And for people who don't know, sound check is when you check the sound and make sure everything is working properly before you do the show. We usually do that 3 or 4 hours before the actual show. So we did the sound check, went to the club. There was these 2 huge guys that were doormen, bouncers, and nothing happened then. It was quiet. We did our sound check. We left, and then we came back for the night to do the show. And we went there. Those 2 guys were still at the door, and we went in. We did our first set. Everything went really well, sounded good. And when we came off the stage, it was like 6 guys in the band. I was facing the band, and I was facing the guys after we came off stage, and we were talking. And this bouncer walked by and kind of grabbed my ass, you know, my butt, you know, like, you know. And then went into a corner like this and looked at me. And I was like, "Hey guys, I went, you know, I was talking and he grabbed it, but if you're on this side, you can't really see, you just see a person passing, you don't see what happens, you know? You don't see that this guy is grabbing me. You just see my reaction. I was just like, "Hey," you know, like that. And I told my friends right away, I said, "Hey, did you know this guy just grabbed my ass, man? He just grabbed my butt. I got to tell this guy something." So I was kind of pissed. I was going over there, and I was pissed. Then something came to me and said, "Don't forget what your mother said. Don't get into no fight with this guy. Just tell him you're not like that and walk away, and tell him don't touch you no more." So I went over there and I said, "Hey man, I'm not like that, and I saw that you touched me, man. I'm not like that, okay?" He says, "Oh, you had too many beers. You must imagine it." I said, "No, I didn't imagine it, and please don't touch me, okay? I'm not like that, and thank you. Don't touch me. Thank you." And then I walked away because I knew that if I stayed longer, the conversation was going to go in a bad direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I left and went back to my band. We did the second set, and then I left the club. I didn't hang out or nothing. I just left the club. Nothing happened. And then the next day, the band member called me and says, "Did you hear what happened?" And I said, "What do you mean, what happened?" She said, "You didn't hear what happened?" I said, "No." "Remember that guy that you said touched you and stuff like that? That guy ended up crushing both of the rib cages of the club owner and went to jail for manslaughter." And this was a huge guy. I mean, I'm a big guy, but this guy, 3 of me is one of his arms, okay?
What?
Huge wrestling type, huge.
Yeah.
And when they told me that, I said, "Oh my God." You see, I knew something crazy about that guy, but I didn't tell him why I knew. And I said, "Okay, thanks, man." And I didn't even tell him, I didn't say nothing else to the band. And I said, "Oh my God, it's happening. She was right. Everything she says is coming true." And then I said, "My girlfriend, she can't have 3 kids. This is impossible." So I called her right away and I said, and she said, "Hello." I said, "Tell me something. Do you have 3 kids?" And the phone went silent for a second. And then she said, "Who told you?" And I said, no, this can't be. I couldn't even believe it the first time I heard it. I said, "This can't be." I said, "I'm going to ask you again. Do you have 3 kids?" And she said, "Yes, but who told you?" And then I went for a pause and I said, "You're not going to believe who told me. My dead mother told me." And I said, "Me and you, we're history." I said, "We're history." I said, "If you're going to lie about your own kids to me, who else knows what else you're going to lie about?" I said, we're history. I said, I could have accepted you with your kids, but you lied to me. You basically lied to me for 2 years. You hid your own kids. Why? And then I left her. And that was the first experience, and that guy is still in jail to this day, by the way.
Oh.
And that showed me that was real, that really happened, all of it's true. Now, my second experience, that was 5 years after. I was following a guy, I'm going to mention his name, protect his family, but I was following a guy who was a great singer, who was one of the lead vocals in the Platters. And he had record deals everywhere. He was in Canada. He had deals in America. Great voice, great performer. So I was following him. He was a little bit older than me, maybe 7 to 10 years older than me, whatever. And I thought that was the way to go. And he introduced me into drugs. So we started doing drugs together because I thought, hey, you got to be cool, man. You got to, you got to fit in. You got to, this guy's got everything. Got record deals. He's got, great voice, great performance. So I was following
charismatic.
him. Yes, all of that. So I was following him. I said, I want to be like him when I. So about maybe 2 years after that, he dropped dead on stage. I did his last show of his life. I was singing background vocals for him, and he dropped dead. And when he died, that was my wake-up call. That's when I said, if you continue like him, you're going to die like him. And I said, I don't want that. So I went cold turkey after that. No drugs. But I said, I'm going to replace it with marijuana. So every now and then I would smoke a joint of marijuana, and that was it. So I had a new girlfriend at that time, and I said, one weekend we ran out of marijuana. We had no marijuana. So I called a friend, because being a musician, you always know where to get marijuana.
Yeah.
Believe me, you just have connections.
Yeah.
So I called a friend, and I said, hey, I'm out of marijuana, man. Where can I get some? He says, oh, I got some. I can bake some in a cake and bring it over to you. And I said, oh, cool. I said, I never had it in a cake before. And I asked my girlfriend, hey, would you like to try it in a cake? I said, yeah. She said, yeah, let's try. So we were all, excited about that because we never had it in a cake. So he baked the cake, but he poured so much marijuana in the cake. Incredible amounts. I don't know, it must have been a bag full. He just emptied it and stirred it up and mixed it in the cake. So he brought the cake over. It was a chocolate cake, by the way, and left. He left it there with me and my girlfriend. I cut her a small piece. I took a small piece, and we both ate the piece of cake.
The small piece.
The small piece of cake, and waited 20 minutes. Nothing happened. And we said, I don't know, you feel something? No, I don't feel nothing. So I said, maybe we need to eat more. She said, yeah. So I said, this time I'm going to cut half the cake. You eat one half and I eat the other half. She said, yeah. So we ate. I ate half the cake. It was a good cake, actually. And she ate the other half. And we waited 20 minutes. And nothing happened. You feel something? Mm-mm. And we waited another, we said, it must be a bad batch or something, I don't know. And then we waited another 10 minutes, and then we started to feel something. But what we felt was not getting more high, we felt like our organs were shutting down. I started to forget to breathe. I would be talking and I wouldn't breathe.
Whoa.
And I was like that, and I couldn't hardly move. I was having trouble to move, to like go left or right or move. And the same thing was happening to her. And she said, you better call 911 while you still can. And I said, yeah. So I went to call 911 like that. And the 911 people asked, hello, what's the problem? And I said, I was so embarrassed to say, I said, listen, we took too much marijuana in a cake and we think we're dying. Can you come save us? So,
like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so I was so embarrassed. And so they said, okay, we'll send the ambulance over. And what I didn't know is that in Canada, if you call that number and it's about any kind of drug, the police also comes also. So the police came, but was the first to come, but there was no marijuana left. There was no cake left because we ate it all. So there was no evidence. So they came and they left. Then the ambulance came, and this was at 4 o'clock in the morning, by the way. And we lived on the 3rd floor, and there was windows on the 2nd and the 1st floor from the neighbors. And the lights were flashing.
Yeah, of course.
And you carrying it was 2 stretchers, and they were carrying us, and the neighbors were piercing through the windows. Wonder what happened to them. It looked like out of a Mick Jagger, David Bowie overdose. Yeah. It was just all this excitement at 4 o'clock in the morning.
And also you were high, so you usually sometimes you get everything more
intensified. Yes. So everything was flashing and lights and everything, and the neighbors were peering out the window. So by the time the ambulance came, I was kind of like holding on to dear life because my heart was trying to beat. I couldn't barely move. I was trying to hold on till they got there because everything was frozen. My body was freezing up. And when they got there, I finally said, oh, yeah, thank God, help has come. Help has come. And they put us in the stretcher, and they took the blood pressure, and we were screwed up. That was really bad. And they took us to the hospital. And as we were entering the hospital, here's another crazy thing that happened. I saw my dead mother again.
Oh.
And my dead mother was looking through the papers at the reception, looking for me. And they passed me right by her. She had this like uniform on that she has, or shirt that she wore when she was alive. she had a girls' club, like a ladies' club. They would play bingo together. They would go to trips together. 10 women, and she had that on. But she was looking through papers, bent over, and they were rolling me right by her, and I clearly could see that it was her. And I said, "That's strange. Why is Mom even here? Why? That's strange." And then they just rolled me to my room. They gave me this charcoal drink to drink, and left me in my room for 2 hours. And they took my girlfriend in another room, a hospital room. I was in a hospital room by myself, and I was on the bed, a hospital bed, and I drank this charcoal drink, which is horrible, by the way. And I drank it, and I laid. After I drank it, I laid back on the bed, and I thought, "Wow, I'm going to survive. Finally, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right." And as I laid back, I started to hear my heart in my ear. It was like it's like somebody had magnified the volume of my heart, and it was just beating slow, like boop boom, boop boom, boop boom, boom boom, boom. And when it stopped, that's when I literally jumped up out of my body, just like that. And as I was out, but when I looked back, my body was still laying there, but I was standing up beside the bed, like this is if this is the bed. I'm standing up, my body's there, and I'm like, oh. And I said, "I'm out." And then when I looked at my hand, I was turning my hand just like this, like I'm doing right now. It was, I don't know if you ever watched television, but in America, I don't know if that happens here, but if you watch till 12 o'clock or till the programs run out of programs, it just goes static, like shh.
Yeah.
Well, this static has colors in it, if you look hard. And that's how my hand looked. It was the shape of the hand, but it was like that. It was like static colors, and it was like a light blue, grayish tint to it. That's the best color I can describe it. And so I'm looking at my hand, and I'm standing up, and then there's a sink I had in my hospital room with one drop of water going boop, boop, boop. And for some odd reason, to this day I don't know, but to a soul, a drop of water was the most fascinating thing in the whole world. And I seen a drop of water, I said, "Wow, a drop of water." For some odd reason, that was fascinating to me. It wasn't even, it was a surprise at first when I was out of my body, but then I was right onto the water.
Yeah.
And I went to the water, and the minute I thought about the water, my vision went zoom right close to it and back again. And back to where I was standing. And then, like somebody who hadn't ridden a bike in 20 years, like if you don't ride a bike in 20 years and I give you a bike, you're going to know how to ride it. You're going to remember. That's how it was. It was like I was remembering. And I said, "I want to stop time so I can see that water better." And I just said, oh yeah, that's right, I know how. And then I just went like that, just with the wave of my hand, and the water froze in midair.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it starts to get wonderland here, man. It froze in midair. And then I said, and that didn't even surprise me. And then I said, "I'd like to see that water from every angle." And then I opened my hand like that, and 5 of me appeared. One on the right, one on the left, one underneath, one watching, and another one watching. And then me watching all 5 of me. And then as it was like that, and when I would go back like that, it would all come back to one, me. And so I kept doing it. Boom, boom, boom. And I kept going faster and faster and faster and faster. And then I said, "I'm going to do it this time with a little shake, like." And I would appear with a little shake. They all would appear with a little shake. Yeah. And I kept doing that, and it turned into Bugs Bunny. I was going faster, a little shake, faster, boom, 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 boom. And then I burst out laughing. It was just too funny. I burst out laughing. And then it was like the sound of it was like I was laughing in the Grand Canyon. It just went on forever. And I was having a party. I was really having fun. I was laughing. I wasn't concerned about nothing. And then I heard that voice. And this voice said, if you stay out very calmly, but it suggested, it's like a suggestion.
Hello, my friend.
Yes.
I just want to say something.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like that. And said, like a parent, like I said, like a parent with a child in the playground. Is that if you stay out too long, you could wind up staying. And I said to myself, oh yeah, that's right, yeah. That's how I knew it wasn't me, because I was answering me. It might have been my higher self, but I was separate from it somehow. And I said, oh yeah, that's right. Because I was having fun. Like I said, I was laughing and stuff. I was not thinking about, if you stay out or the body. I was having a party. But this voice that came from behind me suggested that. So then I said, yeah, that's right. And I never wanted to look at my face, my dead face in the bed, because I was afraid that it was going to have a hideous look. And I said, that's going to scare me too much. So I said, I won't look at the face, but I point myself in the direction of the bed that I know the body's at, and I'm going to go back in. And I did that, and I concentrated on going back in, and I went right back in. And my heart went, boom. It did a double click, and I was back in the body. But while I was out, while I was playing, and while I was out of my body, I was getting more and more power. I was learning that I could stop time. I was learning that I could divide myself with the thought. And information was coming to me. That's another thing. I was getting all this information, the information about why we're here. There is no wrong or right on the other side. Jesus, there's many. It was going on and on and on. The earth is in a vibrational change right now. Blah, blah, blah. It was just, and if I had stayed out there, God knows, maybe I would have had all the answers to whatever. But I brought back that information. I was able to bring back that information consciously. So, and that changed me a lot. Also, that you affect everything, even if you can't see it. Even if you do a kind word to a person and the person may not even deserve your kind word, you think it doesn't matter, it's going nowhere. Wrong. It's affecting that person. They might not show you, but it's affecting their subconscious, it's affecting them. So that's why I say every kind word is like a rock in a pond. It has waves, it goes out and it touches. And your good deeds touch, and also your bad deeds. They have the same effect. So all these things, all this information came to me, and it was shocking, some of it, because some of it I didn't believe before. It totally destroyed religion. It totally destroyed religion. I mean, the concept of religion, it explained a lot too about the religion, hell, all those things, why people even see that, blah, 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 the creation, the soul, but it all came like a download. Yeah, like a download, like you download on a computer. It was like, and also it gave me, which I discovered later, a gift. And I discovered that gift by accident, because I was not looking for it, because I didn't know I had it. I was about maybe a year and a half, 2 years after, I was in a club in Mont Roland in Montreal, Canada. And it was a snowstorm, and there was nobody in the club except for the waitresses and maybe one customer. We were having beers, the band and me, and I said, hey, waitress, come on over. I want to tell you your future, because I was bored. I was bored to death. Yeah. So let me tell you your future. So I said, give me your left hand. And I took her left hand and I said, your boyfriend, and I don't know this waitress from a hole in the wall. Didn't know who she was, didn't even know her name. And I said, your boyfriend's paraplegic. He blames you for his handicap. You're going to leave him. You're going to meet a new guy in 3 months from now. You're going to fall in love with him, and you're going to marry him. And that's it. And I just threw her hand like that. And I never noticed, because I had a few beers, I never noticed that she never said a word through the whole thing. Not one word. Then the next year I played the same club, and she ran up to me and she said, "Did you know that everything you said was true?" I said, "No way." This is my exact words. I said, "No way." I said, "Your boyfriend was paraplegic?" She said, "Yes." I said, "He blames you for his handicap?" She said, "Yes." "You met somebody 3 months after?" She said, "Yes." I said, "You fell in love and you got married?" And she showed me the wedding ring.
What the
And when she did that, my arms, bumps went up my arms, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm an alien. What happened to me? I'm an alien. How can I do this?" And then my band were looking at me like, "Is he Nostradamus? What's going on here?" You know. So I was feeling quite strange that time.
Yeah.
And then I had a bad experience with that because I was another guy that was a friend of the band, and we used to go to these places called these after-hour places. And this after-hours is like a club that stays open after the normal clubs close. They stay open to like 6 or 7 in the morning. And you still can have a drink and sit back, but it's kind of like privately. And he was like a bouncer for that place, but he was a cool bouncer, huge guy, but
Not
cool. No, not a homosexual, nothing like that. He was a cool bouncer that knew our band and loved our band. Yeah. And I had a premonition about him. I don't know why it happened, but it happened, and it was on a Thursday. And the premonition was, "Don't go out this weekend. Whatever you do, stay home." And I saw him on that Friday, and I started to tell him, but I said, "Nah, because this is a big, huge guy. Nobody in their right mind is going to mess with this guy. Nobody in their right..." It's like, I don't know if you ever saw the Hulk.
The Hulk,
the Green Hulk.
Yeah.
This is
X-Men, I think, or something.
Yeah, this is that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind is going to pick a fight with that guy. Believe me. So I said, "He's going to look at me like I'm crazy. Don't go out. Who's going to mess with this guy?" I said, "Nobody. Are you kidding me? Nobody. So I said, "Nah, he's going to think I'm a cuckoo." So I said, I keep him as a good friend, and I'm not going to tell him that. I'm not going to tell. So I didn't tell him, which was a kind of a mistake, but I don't know yet to this day if that was a mistake or not. But anyway, that Sunday, I saw him on that Friday. I didn't tell him, and that Sunday, I went back to that same place after my work, and it was another guy at the door, not my friend. And this guy was standing at the door, another huge guy, but crying with tears rolling down his face. And I said, "Hey man, what's wrong? Why are you crying, man?" He said, "You didn't hear?" I said, "No. What happened?" He said, the guy's name, which I won't say his name, but he said, "He's dead." I said, "Dead?" I said, "What happened?" He said, "The guy took this girl home, not home, but to a hotel after work, and she waited till he fell asleep, and she cut his throat. And they caught her, but she was a psychopath."
Another psychopath.
Yeah, and she was caught by the police, and he died because he lost too much blood. He couldn't. By the time he woke up from the stabs, he had lost too much blood, and he lost consciousness, and he died. And I went to his funeral, and then I promised myself. I said, "If I get premonition about the President of the United States, I don't care. I'm going to tell him. I'm never going to withhold information. Never. So, and that was the beginning of that gift that I had, and that I still help people with. And I was helping people. I started to help people once a month or something like that, but on the side. I still didn't come out in the major public with it. I only was helping people who were in real desperate situations. I would do a reading for them. But recently I came out with an interview because I felt that it was time. Something inside of me felt that it's time that people know what's going on, and to give this information that I know about for a few years to the people, to the public, because they're going to need it. So that's why I'm doing interviews, and now I don't really care about the musicians if they think I'm crazy or not. That doesn't bother me anymore. I don't care.
The world is crazy anyways.
Yeah, because I exactly, exactly. So, and so that was my two experiences that changed my life for sure. And now I mean I do music in a different way than I did before, because before it was a lot more of how cool I am, how flash I am, oh look how I sound, or look how I hold a note, and all that stuff.
I still like your shirt.
No, oh, thanks. But now I do it for more of love. I do it for more of, are you enjoying yourself? Do you feel good hearing the music and stuff like that? Than more so much of the ego.
Yeah, more of the heart.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So one of my downloads I got is that the Earth is rising in vibration. That's one thing. So you're going to feel strange. The Earth is actually going to be changing your DNA. You have 90% of what they call junk DNA, but it's not junk at all. It's not junk at all.
How arrogant.
Yes, it's not junk at all. And it's going to be awakening because the Earth is rising in vibration. Now, there's a story that goes with that, but I don't know if you want to hear it.
I want to hear everything.
Okay. Well, the story I got from the download was this. Is that the Earth, first let me get this, I'm going to clear some things. Okay. Nothing against anybody's religion. If it brings you joy and love, it's okay. But if it brings you separation and fear, it is not correct. So if you can have the religion without the separation and the fear from people or from God, then it's fine. Whether it's Muslim, whether it's Christian, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Jehovah, whatever your religion may be. My downloads was that the Earth, the souls on the other side, they have games. They play games because they are gods. We all are gods in a big G. Okay? It's not a disrespect to the creator of the universe, but we all are gods, and we all are part of the creator, and we are the creator. So we can create many things. So on the other side,
continue.
On the other side, we have souls that come together and they create games for us to play. These games are sometimes games that we can't experience so much on the other side. We have to lower our density. The Earth we live in now is a lower density compared to if you die, and when you die, you go to a higher density automatically. So in order to come to this Earth, you have to lower your density, and also in order to experience fear or hatred or being alone or loss.
Or the illusion of death.
Or the illusion of death, you have to come to a lower density to experience that. Because on the other side, there is no death, there is no fear, there is no judgment, there is no anger, there is no revenge, there is no
separation.
Separation. You're never alone unless you want to be alone, but you're never alone. So that's the thing, and the Earth is rising. And anyway, this game they created called Earth. The Earth is a soul that's decided to be a Earth, and decided to be this Earth so that other souls can come to experience. We are here. Oh yeah, download. Why are we here? To experience. We're not here to learn lessons. We're not here to grow. Now, I'm not saying that in your experience you can't learn something. That's possible. But it's not a mission. It's not a mission for a soul. Oh, I must go down as a mission to learn. No. in experiencing these lower densities and these things, you could learn something that you didn't know before because you were in the high density and you don't experience those experiences. That's a possibility, yes, but it is not an obligation, and it is not something that your soul definitely needs. Your soul is perfect on the other side. I mean perfect. You know everything, you feel everything. It's like reading a book about driving a car. You know all the ins and outs about driving a car, but guess what? You never driven a car. So you never experienced it. And that's what the earth is about. Now you come there and you experience it firsthand. So in this little game that they created, the earth agreed for a number of billions of years to be earth in a lower density, 3 density. But the billion years are up now.
The what? The billionaires?
The billion years.
Billion years.
The billion years, not the billionaire. We all want to be one. The billion years are up now. And now she is rising. And when she rises and when she gets to a certain vibration, high 5D vibration, there's going to be a separation. Now, the separation is going to be 3D is still going to go on, but it's not going to be the true earth. It'll be like the shadow of the earth. But it's going to feel gradual. It's not going to be like one night, all of a sudden, boof, everybody disappears. It's going to be a gradual thing, kind of like as summer gradually turns into winter. It's going to be like that.
Or winter into spring.
No, winter into spring. Right,
It's also,
right.
I like that better.
Yeah, or winter into spring. Yes, yes, that's better. Yes, so the people, the earth is just giving people a choice.
Yeah.
And thank God the earth is giving the souls a choice, which the earth is another soul. And it's saying, make your choice. Do you want to stay on lower vibration or do you want to stay on higher vibration? And here's another thing. For God, neither one is better. Not the higher, not the lower. Just different. The people on lower vibration are taking the long way home, but they're still going home. The people in the higher vibration are taking the short way home, and they're still going home. That's how it is on the other side. Okay? It's all, you put on your costume, Napoleon puts on his costume, he's Napoleon. He's going to war, he's chopping and killing or whatever, he's doing whatever he's doing. But in the end of the day, when Napoleon dies, he is a soul. And what is a soul made of? Love. Okay, and love is very powerful. I gave an example of a rock. You can't put your fist through a mountain. You can't, because you're going to hurt your fist, believe me. But guess what can put a hole in a mountain? A small drop of water every day. A small drop of water can put a hole in a rock. And the water is love. And that's how powerful love is. So we're on this planet Earth now. The game is up. The Earth is changing her vibration. You're going to feel it in your body. Your DNA is changing. Sometimes you may feel aches and pains you never felt in your whole life. Sometimes you're going to feel strange. You don't know why. Everything around you is changing. That's correct. And it may at times look very grim or dark, but actually it's the opposite. You have more light coming to the earth now than ever before. They're not telling you that, but actually it is. The resonance of the earth, which is like electrical pulse of the earth, is rising. It normally it's 7.8, now it's something like 9 or 11 or even 10. Okay, it's rising. This is changing. It's having an effect on your DNA. Like I said, your DNA is changing because you're going to be exposed to that. And we have the choice. And that's all. And for people who would like to stay on the higher vibration, my suggestion to you is to be happier and happier. And whatever that means to you, that could be a piece of chocolate, it could be a funny movie, it could be a funny friend, it could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be a picture, it could be drawing, it could be coloring, it could be a great conversation, it could be
nature.
And I want to say one thing about nature. Nature automatically re-energizes your soul to a higher vibration. Automatically. All you have to do is just sit there. Mm-hmm. That's it.
There is this study I've heard. They were having people who were highly depressed, mm-hmm. and on one group they gave them antidepressants.
Yeah.
Then a placebo group.
Yeah.
And then a group they had to go out three times for 20 minutes into nature. And they found out with people who went to nature, mm-hmm. and the group with the antidepressants, they got at the same level of out of the depression.
Yeah, yeah.
After like the group with the antidepressants, they had a faster effect, mm-hmm. but of course with the side effects and everything what the antidepressants bring.
Right, exactly.
And the other group, they got out of it. They became much more happy. Like there was, for example, one really, really depressed smoker, like mm-hmm. all the time mm-hmm. smoking, mm-hmm. and she got out of it after some weeks. And it's like just 20 minutes in nature 3 times a week.
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. Nature is the natural healer for the soul. It brings you into a high vibration naturally.
Mm-hmm. Naturally,
without you doing anything. So these are all little things that I would suggest if you want to stay happier and happier, is to be in nature, or like I said, eat chocolate, be with a great friend, watch a funny movie, watch a funny picture, do something you love, create music, drawing, whatever you love to do, writing, whatever brings you joy, do it. If you feel your vibration is slipping or you're going into any kind of depression or any kind of dark feeling or bad feeling about the world or about what's going on around you with your job or whatever, do that. Because that keeps you on a high frequency. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So for a person who is maybe listening to this podcast or watching it, let's say there is someone who is in a really bad state of the mind, like really negative thinking, or maybe the money is running out, mm-hmm. maybe healthy-wise or whatever. So something what I really like about you, but maybe it needs a bit of more explanation. It's like looking for the joy and everything, mm-hmm. like the beauty. But what I know from myself, especially before, I also had lots of realizations in the past years. Mm-hmm. But we live in this 3D world at the moment still, and there is time and space, right?
Right.
So I often was judging myself that I didn't manage it before. So why mm-hmm. should I do it now? I'm like, let's say now I'm 40, mm-hmm. someone else maybe 50, 60, and saying, but yeah, I really feel bad, but if I look for joy, I cannot pay my bills, or for 20 years I'm sick, I cannot get healthy, and if I'm healthy, it's just maybe 10 more years or whatever. So what can you say to a person like this? I have an idea, but maybe you have your own idea.
Okay, well, I can tell you this. First thing, we have to realize that a lot of us, we were all raised in a system of lies. Okay, we've been lied to about really, even reality of what's going, what really is. What I learned from the other side, everything is frequency, vibration. Everything is frequency and vibration. I also learned there is no karma.
Oh.
Okay, now that's a big thing. There is no karma. There's law of attraction. And what it is that it's not God punishing you because you did that, so now this is going to happen to you. No, it's because when you kill or you take a life or whatever, you put yourself on a certain frequency. That frequency allows also that it could happen to you because you're in that frequency. Think of it as a radio station. You can't get classical music on a rock station. You just can't, because you're not in the frequency.
That's a good example.
But if you go to the rock station, you're going to get all the rock in the world. If you go to the Mozart station, you're going to get all the classical in the world. And it's the same for vibration. So if you put yourself in the vibration of I'm going to be ill or I'm always ill, this is opening the door for you to be more ill. This is opening the door for those things to stay. If you want to change that, then you have to go to a higher vibration. Higher vibrations is good health. Higher vibrations is laughing. Higher vibrations is happiness. Higher vibrations is good thoughts. Higher vibration is gratitude for what you already have. And that can multiply just from being happy. And also opening your door and opening your mind to the fact that when you ask something of the universe, it can come if you ask. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Go ahead.
I'm curious about what you think about this. Like, you talked a little bit about religion and stuff.
Yes.
So, what do you think, in your experience, why does religion work? Like, let's say I'm praying to a god, and there are many stories that these people, they had like some miracles happened because they were like praying to a god and saying like, I want to have a better life, or I want to have more money, I want to have my kids in a great place. So what do you think about this? Like, if you get it out of the religious kind of body, and you explain it more with the law of attraction.
Well, the law of attraction is about, okay, let's cover prayers. Yeah. That's something else I found out. Because for me, I'm not a religious person, but I know from my death experience that my download was that prayers are powerful, and it had nothing to do with Buddha, Jesus, or any of those people who were, some of them were great people who exposed higher consciousness. But it had to do with your belief. And this is why the governments and a lot of other places, they want you to believe a certain thing, because they know if you believe it, the law of attraction will work for them. That it becomes a reality. If you don't believe it, then it goes the opposite. So what you believe in is very powerful. Even on the other side, my downloads was people who died and went to hell. The hell was there not because God wanted to punish them. The hell was there because they had created it, because they believed it in this life. Because you are gods, and what your soul believes in, it creates. So they created, and the only reason why in Christian religion, if you go to hell in the Bible, you're supposed to never get out. It's supposed to be forever. Why do these people, not just one, many, come back? Oh, I've been to hell and I've died and Why do they even come out? Because they're the ones that created, and it's the same for heaven. If you believe enough, your belief is so powerful, that's what happens. You create it. So we are creating all our reality. We all are part of that. And there is a global consciousness also that's part of that, that we contribute to. But as far as our interpersonal reality, it's up to us to create it. We are the creators. There's no slavery of nothing. But what you believe is very important. And that's why in the ancient times, symbolism was so powerful. Why do you think the Indians painted their face? Because when they had to do a war, they wanted the enemy to believe that they were stronger, that they were gonna rip them apart because they had these red faces and stuff like that. Symbolism. Why do you think that in Indonesia they paint these masks that look horrible, monster masks, to guard their gold? Because they wanted you to believe that there's a spirit protecting that gold. And if you go in there, it's gonna get you. And because you believe it, guess what? It becomes reality.
Then maybe even some people, they see like a monster.
Yes, they can see a monster, they can see all kinds of, because it's created because of what you believe. So your beliefs is very strong. It's very important to know and be careful what you believe in.
And also like not just that you follow like beauty and joy and love, and also like the surroundings, like it can be people, it can be like where you're living.
I tell people all the time, and my clients, I say, protect your vibration. And I say, you can be selfish about it. If somebody has a lower vibration and you don't want that, keep them out of your life as much as you can. Rather it be family or whatever, as much as you can.
I would even say...
And even, go ahead.
Yeah, I would even say the person you think is in a lower or another vibration or lower, you can even help this person, because you can separate him or herself for a moment, or for a longer moment, and find others in the same vibration, and then go to the more joyful.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, your higher vibration is a light. It's a light in the dark. And people will see that light if you show it. So if you're a higher vibration, people see it. People with lower vibrations will see that light. Okay, and that's why it's important to protect your environment, your vibrational environment. Be selfish about it. And it's not being rude, it's being thoughtful of your own vibration. And that's it. And surround yourself with positive people as much as you can. And people that you have to work with and they're in a negative vibration, you pray for them. Because prayer is power. Prayer is power. And prayer can actually change the physical, it can change illness, it can change a lot. And the more people come together and pray about the same thing, the more power it can be. You can even change disease in a person.
That's an interesting topic, like the epigenetics. Now we have this word, I don't know how long it existed, epigenetics.
Yes.
Joe Dispenza is like a...
Yeah, well, there's a movie called Superhuman.
Yeah.
Invisible, Now Visible. I suggest everybody watch that movie.
By Joe Dispenza?
I think it's...
Superhuman.
Yes. And they have children with eyesight reading books without reading the book. They have they have a blindfold on the children who are like 5 years old, 6 years old, reading a book they can't see because they have a blindfold on, but they're reading every word.
Wow.
That is a fact. And that's showing you what they're reading from their soul. And that's just showing you what we are capable of. And as we go into the future, this soul power is going to come into the physical with the rising of the planet. That's what's happening. And also, a lot of bad energies are trying to stop your DNA, and I won't go in deeper into that. But your DNA is changing. That's why they're trying to stop it. And breathing in that good-ass prana, baby. That is a part of your connection to your soul also. Breathing, that's why meditation and certain way to breathe connects you all directly to source, which is God. Okay? And when somebody tries to cut that, they're trying to cut your connection to source, to your higher self. So I won't go deeper into that topic, but that's I wanted to touch that.
And also, like in a way, like this David Floyd situation we had like 2 years ago in America. We can talk about this, but it's not so important at the moment. But what he says, I can't breathe. It's exactly also that. I can't breathe.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And what's the first thing you do when you come into life? You breathe.
Yeah.
What's the last thing you do when you leave life? Your last breath.
You breathe out.
That's right, your last breath.
Yeah.
Breathing. It's such a connection to the soul. So that's just one thing about people who are on this depression or have the problems. There's so many ways to fix that. But you have to be willing, you have to be open-minded, and you have to come to a realization, was everything that I taught my whole life, was it all true? You have to be able to ask yourself that question honestly. And then you have to be able to look at the reality, the research. Just look at it. What's happening today? What's going on? What's going on with the science today? And like I said, I suggest everybody who's watching this, watch the movie Superhuman, Invisible, Now Visible. That's going to blow your mind. Just with thought that you can change a DNA strand. Scientifically proved, just with thought. Okay, rear viewing. When somebody can see what's going on just from concentrating on another person, where they are, location, everything. If you see that movie, it's right in your face. They take you to the experiments, and you see what we are truly, possibly capable of. And that's just the surface. And this will, from my downloads, is going to even rise as the planet rises. There's going to be new discoveries. There's going to be so many things happening because your DNA is changing. And like I said, it's important to be on the high vibration, because high vibration, my download, love will give you answers. Love will give you knowledge. Love.
And if you're for a day or a week or whatever, or an hour in a low vibration, you really feel it. What do you do? Or what can you recommend?
Well, the thing, it's like the minute you start to feel a lower vibration. Now, I'm going to tell you this. When I say go in a high vibration, it doesn't mean put your head in the sand. If something, all the bad things that are happening. It just means you look at it, you see it for whatever it is, and you move on. You don't stay stuck on it. You don't have hundreds and hundreds of stories about the same thing and about that you already know. That's overwashing yourself and lowering your vibration, because all those stories do what? Make you feel sad. If you hear one or two, okay, now you heard it, I know that's going on, you should move on to something else. You know, I mean, sometimes friends may send you the same stories or the same things over and again. If you know it's about the same topic that you already know, and you already know the answer about that, you let it go. It's important to stay on a high vibration, and it's important once you feel if you're slipping, which we all can do, that you have remedies to help pull you up. And like I said to you before, walking in nature pulls you automatically up. You don't even have to do anything. You just have to be there. Just go there and sit for half an hour or an hour. Just sit. That's all you have to do. That's one. That's my number one suggestion. But if the weather's bad or it's extremely cold and you can't go out, the other thing is to find things that make you happy or make you laugh right away. Some people, it's food. Sometimes chocolate picks me up. It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. Sometimes for other people, it could be marijuana. Make you laugh. It might make you get away. Sometimes it could be a good movie, a funny movie, something that makes you laugh. Or it could be a good friend that always, the time you talk to them, you're laughing. Could be music, something you love to do or love to hear. Could be writing, could be drawing, could be anything that brings a smile to your face. Could be a puppy, could be an animal, could be a bird. Anything that brings a smile or joy to your heart. Find out, and it's important that you find out what makes you laugh, what makes you smile, what makes you feel good. That gives you an immediate reaction. So you know what to do when the world becomes too much, or things become too depressive, or you just feel lost, or you don't feel good. What do I do? That's what you do. Go to one of those things that you know. Yes.
What I also recommend is that you take a paper and a pen, and you
can write down the things.
Write down. That's really
exactly.
I was so underestimating it.
Yes.
I was like, writing down things. It's so old school, whatever. But just doing it, or maybe as an audio can be also okay. But writing is like, a friend of mine, she explained me, like you get the thought out of...
Symbolic.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I told you, symbols.
Yeah.
That's what they did in the ancient. That's why it works.
Yeah.
Symbolic is much more powerful when you see it. You know, when you hear it, that's one thing, but when you see it, that's a whole nother realm.
That's a whole lot to talk about.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Exactly.
So, and also, you should really take some time and write down, like, go back in time and find maybe 2 or 3 experiences, moments you had, you were really, really happy.
Really happy, exactly.
Really,
it could
like,
be childhood
peaceful
moments, could be a childhood picture, something that makes you really happy. Like I have on my computer, me and my father, well, the funny thing about my father is that he's actually the reason why I play jazz, because he would come in after work and put jazz on his stereo. And I heard this from 3 years old. And when I grew up, I said, oh, I want to be like that. That's so cool. That's so great. He put the best on. Sonny Stitt, Charlie Parker, Billie Holiday. I mean, the best of the best. And but the funny thing is, he didn't want me to be a musician. But he played the best musician stuff that ever could be. And so I have a picture of him and me, and we were very happy. It was a Christmas. I was like maybe 21. I just came back from a tour or whatever, world tour or whatever. And we were very happy together. And I have that picture on my computer. And every time I feel sad or if I feel bad, I always look at that picture because it's a happy moment that I can remember from my father. You know, it's a happy moment. It was not a bad moment. It was a happy moment. And he always did like this. That's my father. He always like, you know. And so that's why I tell you pictures, whatever, like you said, go back in your past and find out what was one of the happiest times you had, and see if you can capture it or write it down or memorize it, because so you can go to these points whenever you're feeling bad or lowered energy. And it's natural that you could feel lower energies, lower vibrations, because we're going through a change, and there's a lot of unanswered questions, and we need to really live in the present. Don't go in the future too strong, because if you do, you could get lost, because everything is changing. Nothing will be the same. We won't be going back. Sorry, we'll be going to something new. But we won't be going back to the old world that you remembered in 2019. It won't happen. But we'll be going to something new. And hopefully it's a high vibration and a new place full of love, joy, and freedom and peace.
Oh, beautiful. And also, like, this experience, maybe you wrote down, look that you find other, like, that they can create more or less similar experiences. Let's say, for example, one moment I was really happy was 5 years ago. I was in Thailand, Koh Phangan, like an island there.
Right.
And I was going to it was the east side of the island. And there were just 2 restaurants. And I went there, had no expectations. I just wanted to drive with a motorbike and have fun. And then there, it was so peaceful with the waves. And I went to the cliffs up there. And at the cliffs, I was totally alone, and I felt so free, and I was like screaming, I was singing, I was dancing.
Exactly.
And this is, for example, one experience when just recently I went to the Camino, Camino Norte in Spain, and I was also at these cliffs. And these cliffs, I know when I'm at the sea, I have the depth of I can look really far. And there's not much, and I have the fresh air, I have the waves. I always feel good, so I recommend everyone to find at least 2 or 3 things that they were really happy and recreate them, maybe in other places. Or
mountains have power. By the way, I'm 3 different races. I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Black, and I'm Cherokee Indian. Okay, my grandfather is full-blooded Cherokee. And
Cherokee
Indian. Native American Indian. And my grandfather always says to me, mountains have power. They have power. And that's why you can sense, and mountains speak. They can actually, if you sensitive enough, the mountains can bring you peace. I'll give you an example. Geronimo, it was an Indian warrior, and he had 300 of his Geronimo Indian soldiers. And he had the cavalry, which was the United States Army, which 5,000. And he only had 300. Geronimo went into the mountains, and they could not find Geronimo for 5 years. And the only reason why they found Geronimo was because the 5,000 soldiers went and took from Indians down in the normal land, from his family that was a part of his tribe, because Geronimo was with the warriors, 300 of them in the mountains. So they went and got his family and told him, calm down, because they could not bring him down from the mountains. They couldn't find him. 5,000 soldiers couldn't find 300 soldiers in the mountain. They couldn't for years and years and years. The only reason why he came down willfully, is because they had his tribe on the normal ground. They had his tribe, and that was it. So he came and gave up. But if they had brought the whole tribe up to the mountains, they would have never found them. Mountains are powerful, and that's why you might feel something from that, because they absorb energy, and that's why all the biblical, Moses went to where? The mountain. Mountains are powerful.
And also, they call it the overview effect. So imagine, for us, it's like, okay, we got this story from the moon landing, whatever, how it was really. I don't know if it was really like that, but let's say it was like that. Yeah. They were on the moon, and they, for the first time, like these astronauts, for the first time they saw the Earth from this angle.
Right.
What changed with their reality? Before, we cannot imagine, because we all got this story, going to the moon is not a big thing,
Right.
But imagine, you saw all the time this white dot on the sky.
Right.
And then you have been there, and you were looking back, and you have seen everything so small, also the problems, what you have in the mountains too.
Right.
Or, hills, mountains.
Yeah.
And you see everything is so, or in the airplane, everything is so small. So why do I really have so many,
make a big thing
worry so much?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So different point of view.
Yeah.
Gives you a different point of view. That's right. Mountains do that. So, that's a great example. Find out what makes you happy, what made you happy in the past, and hold on to that experience. So be able to capture it, or be able to go back to it when you're feeling that you're going towards a lower vibration, or you're going towards depression or sadness or worried, and try to live in the present. You can point yourself in the direction you would like to be in the future, but don't live in the future, because the present is the future.
And the doors are open in the present if you stay in the present.
That's right.
But if you're always looking for the possible future, you don't see the doors, right?
Exactly. And also, we're in a different time now. Before, I used to live my life planning, because I thought, if you plan right, you're going to be a success. Yeah. You plan this, you plan that, you're going to be a success. Now it's a whole different trip. Now you live in the present. You can point yourself in the direction you would like to go, but don't put too much emphasis on the future. Live in the present, and the future will happen the way you want. But live now, here, in this present moment. That's what I would suggest, because a lot of people are freaking out because, what am I going to do with my job next year, and what am I going to do? You're not there yet. You're here. Today, you're fine. Take your time. Live in the present. Point yourself in the direction that you would like to go, but don't live in the future, because you're not there yet.
That's like you're a rope and you become a butterfly, just maybe one more day and you become this butterfly.
Exactly.
And everyone tells you, prepare for the future and plan. Maybe the rope already knows, I will become this butterfly. and he's preparing how to fly, and
doesn't
matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's not,
Exactly. You said it. You hit it right on the nose. Exactly.
Metamorphosis.
Yes. So these are things that I found people have a lot of anxiety about, and they don't need to. They need to stay in the present. And I understand that they have a habit of doing that because maybe that's how they survived 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and it worked. But right now, all the old things are dying, so it's not going to work the same way. This whole situation, I found that I got more done with less work. So that's why I see the positive out of it. I got more done with less work. I mean, I was trying to put my studio together for years, and now it's like it's together. So I mean, those things, and it happened like in 6 months. When it was taking me years before, because I had to work and I didn't have time, and then I had to. So we're in a different time zone. We're in a different paradigm. So we need to concentrate on the positive, and you will have all the things you need if you focus on the positive. And remember the law of attraction. What you're thinking, you are calling. What you are feeling, you are creating. Nobody else, not a partner, not this, is not
You're
there.
the God, you're the creator.
You are the God, you are the creator of your own reality. And whether we like to face that or not, it's true. So if you have something in your life you don't understand, you got to ask yourself, why is that in my life? Why did that happen? And eventually you'll get the answer.
There's these 3 steps, like things are happening to you, so you don't have a connection to the things.
Right.
The second stage is like things are happening for you.
Right.
So it's like it's showing you something that you can grow and learn from it.
Right.
And the best stage is the third. Things are happening through you.
Yes, exactly. And that's through creation. That's through law of attraction. You are creating that. And that's right.
This is just love externalized.
Exactly.
This is your heart and everything externalize what you have.
Exactly.
If you feel bad, it's okay. But you wanted that, maybe as your hero's journey. You wanted to have these really bad times, so you get out of this. Like
yes. But there is a silver lining in all. That's something I learned too. That in the download is that every hard story. Example, my own story was I had no support from my father to be a musician, so I had to do it on my own as a kid. That was very hard because I had no encouragement. But because I had no encouragement, it made me work harder as a musician. And guess what? That's what made me a better musician, a better singer, a better artist because of that. So this is something, and at the time it seemed, it's so horrible. You have no support. All the other kids have their parents taking them to lessons. You have to do your own. You have to find your own. And hey, you're only whatever, how old are you? 13, 14. But it made me stronger. It made me more dedicated, which gave me a better, higher level of musicianship, which made me be able to pass that audition in high school
with the flute
against
also.
And with the flute and stylistics. I would against professionals. So why did that happen? Well, because the bad thing. So I thank my father. I thank him because without him, I would have been too relaxed, and I wouldn't have been good enough to pass the audition. I wouldn't have been good enough to learn the flute in 3 days. None of that. So you see, good can come from the bad.
Yeah. Okay,
I think that was great.
Let's finish this round.
Yes.
Let's summarize it to three tips or recommendations you can give. You already talked a little bit about it. Just in a nutshell. 3 things that you recommend people to do to have a better life, better future.
Okay. 1, as much as you can, be happier and happier. That's number 1. Learn about what makes you happy and be able to go to it like a medicine. If you're feeling low or depressed in these times we're living in, know, number 1, that nature is your first choice. If you can go to nature, do it, because you don't. After that, you just have to be in it. That's it. Number 2, don't hate anyone who doesn't believe the way you believe or doesn't have the same answers as you. Everybody's journey is different. So don't judge someone because they don't believe the way you believe. Don't hate someone because they don't see the truth that you see. And forgive, because forgiveness is freedom. Number 3, love is the key to all power. Love is the key. Love can change it all. You just have to give love the chance. Love can change it all. That's what I would suggest. And also, I would suggest, remember, we are living in an earth that is rising in vibration. It's rising. It's getting higher. Higher vibrations is more light, more love. So don't fall for the illusion that these medias and some of these governments are trying to place on people. The earth is rising. And that's it.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
It was really, you put down a lot of your realizations. I'm sure a lot of people can get a lot of out of it.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Hey, thank you for having me on Jazz Future.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
And for the people who are interested to know more about you, what do you offer to the people?
Well, I do readings for about health, for love, for partner, for work, for my downloads from the other side, and spiritual help. So you can just go to my email. I hope that you're going to...
I will put it into the show notes.
Paste my email on, so you can just write me. And,
can you say it just for the
I do
people
a
who are listening?
consultation. My email is easybullock@hotmail.com. That's EASYBULLOCK@hotmail.com. You can write me for a consultation, and I will gladly answer you.
Do you also play some like concerts or?
Yes, at the moment, right now, I haven't planned anything yet because we're in the beginning of the year. But for sure, in the future, you'll be able to write me and I'll be able to show you and write you back where I'll be performing. So you can come and hear me and you can enjoy the music.
Nice. Thank
All
you,
right.
Dennis.
Hey, my brother, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, Jonas.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. And great success for Jazz Future.
Future jazz.
Future Jazz. Right, there you go.